Oh, South Park, you guys never fail to impress me. And hey, Kitty Monk, I guess you got your wish.
You know, once again, I'm surprised they haven't made a Prince Harry episode, because imagine what they could say. Woo!
Welcome back, y'all. An Oreo here, and today we're going to be discussing the recent South Park episode that poked fun out of Harry and Meghan. Now, contrary to what a lot of people are claiming about how the episode roasted Harry and Meghan, personally, in my opinion, I think the episode is unironically the most subtle and calmest dig at a celebrity that I've ever seen in South Park's airing history. If anything, I'm more surprised that the show didn't work with more of the source material spread about the couple, such as Harry's Nazi costume controversy, which they could have easily incorporated with the usage of both characters Kyle Broflovski and Eric Cartman, given how much Cartman makes fun of Kyle's Jewishness.
Well, you're a stupid Jew. You're a Jew. Shut your goddamn Jew mouth. Good job, Jew. Jew, stop Jew. You're Jewish. Dude is Jewish. Jew. 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 Told you Jewish people don't have rhythm.
It's funnily enough, this is the one episode where Cartman doesn't make a Jewish joke or make fun of Kyle for it, which is hilarious given the context of the people they're starring. My biggest criticism with this episode is that they didn't have Token Black making fun of and raking Meghan and Harry over the coals for trying to use racism as defense for the backlash they've received. Given how the episode even goes as far as to make fun of Harry and Meghan for their repeated usage of the race card.
But we're not done. What would a Meghan and Harry video be without a race card?
What did he just say? He victimized me. It's because I'm an ethnic woman.
Ho, shut the fuck up.
This is something that was actually brought up in Andrew Tate's call out to the documentary.
The fact she's pulling the race card is absolutely and utterly insulting to every dark-skinned person who has ever genuinely suffered from racism, ever.
And while I did indeed have core problems with Andrew's response video because of how misinformed
She's whiter than the current Prime Minister of the UK. She's whiter than the Mayor of London.
but those people aren't black, they're Indian. Black and Indian people experience different types of racial discrimination. This is a massive false equivalency and double standard.
She's whiter than me.
Ah yes, the person who despises identity politics is now using the identity politics card. Incredible. Andrew's take came off being, but I did agree with this core message at hand. But before that, we of course need to discuss the recent controversy surrounding this particular episode as well.
I'll sue ya! I'll take all your money!
Around a couple days after episode 2 came out, there were certain rumors of an alleged lawsuit that both the Duke and Duchess of Sussex were claiming to file on the TV show hosts. These allegations were bolstered by a third-party member named Neil Sean, who suggested that the Duke of Duchess of Sussex may get litigious over the cartoon parody, stating, "Their legal team are casting an eye over the episode to see what is wrong and what could be turned into something more sinister," said Sean. This appears to be their course of action rather than laughing it off, enjoying the moment, and showing the world that they get the joke. Now, contrary to what a lot of people may believe, this isn't the first time South Park's been sued before, as South Park has had dozens of lawsuits from the company Yelp to Comedy Central to even Viacom. However, most of these lawsuits have been for copyright infringement, and only 2 of which was for defamation and false advertising. However, this allegation was quickly shut down by a third-party representative for Prince Harry and Meghan, stating, "It's all frankly nonsense," said the representative, "totally baseless, boring reports." Now, given this additional context, I wouldn't necessarily be covering this episode, but given how I myself have gone very in-depth on the whole Harry and Meghan documentary as well as their situation, I think this episode will be perfect for me to cover, as I can explain why the lawsuit, if it were to happen, is basically bogus. But with that being said, let's get into the review.
Daggers, of course.
The episode first starts off with the Canada Queen's funeral and a group of pallbearers carrying the Queen inside of a coffin, which is of course obviously a remake and reference to Queen Elizabeth's funeral, which if anything is hilarious given that this documentary was scripted and edited before Queen Elizabeth's death and posted months after Elizabeth's passing, which I felt to be kind of ironic in my own opinion. But anyways, after that we are then introduced to our main character Kyle Broflovski, who is confronting a currently devastated Ike, who is watching the funeral with a saddened expression.
Ike, come on, dude. You can't keep doing this. Ike, the Queen died died like 4 months ago. You gotta let it go.
And so far, I have no clue what they could actually sue the network for. Like, yeah, sure, they made a satire joke about Queen Elizabeth's passing, but so did, I don't know, everyone else across goddamn Twitter, for crying out loud. We then jump cut to the show introducing us to a character named Smelly John.
And here comes Canada's most beloved musician, Sir Smelly John. Yes, Smelly John sitting down at the piano with a tribute for the Queen, I believe.
Which is obviously a reference to the real-life British singer Elton John, which the documentary actually references being at Harry and Meghan's own wedding as well.
Elton John's performing. I couldn't find my mom because she had like beeline to the stage to just watch Elton sing.
Which, if anything, is just a nice touch to add and shows that the show's writers actually did their research, unlike some other writers out there, but that's besides the point. We then get introduced to the Prince and new wife of Canada, who are very disliked by the crowd.
Oh, and now people are starting to stare angrily. Yes, it looks like the Prince and his new wife have just shown up. Prince and his wife have, of course, been bashing the Canadian monarchy. A lot of Canadians hate them now.
Oh, I wouldn't say bashing, and I wouldn't say hate them, to be honest. I'd say furious. Need I remind you that Prince Harry is the same jackass who tried to accuse William of physical assault?
He grabbed me by the collar, Prince Harry writes about William, ripping my necklace, and he knocked me to the floor.
And in defense provided next to no evidence to back up these claims. And before you accuse me of victim blaming or jumping to conclusions, need I remind you that there are clips from the documentary that directly contradict this statement?
William and I both saw what happened in our dad's office, and we made an agreement that we would never let that happen to our office.
Oh yes, I loved and appreciated William so much. That's why when we got into our first altercation, I immediately played the victim and acted like Prince William attacked me. Dude, just stop. We then get introduced to the Earl of Halifax, which is obviously a reference to Prince William, of course, and we are then shown the Prince and Earl about to get into confrontation, which is obviously a reference to Prince Harry's bogus allegation in Harry's book. We then jump cut to a scene involving Butters and Kyle, with Butters stating,
I can see you're having some problems with your brain. Some kids call it your credibility or your reputation, but those things are just little parts of something much more important, your brain.
Now, this reputation scene is obviously in reference to Prince Harry and Meghan Markle repeatedly complaining about the royal family and British tabloids making unfair judgments about them. Now, in reference to Butters' comment about the brand part, this could be a reference to how the royal family does use a lot of PR representatives to help their image. After all, remember what happened last time a royal family didn't listen to their PR representatives? Prince Andrew repeatedly fumbling over word choice.
But it would be a considerable stretch to say that he was a very, very close friend.
And struggling to answer the simplest of questions in a timely manner.
You were perceived by the public as being the party prince. Was that something you shared?
I think that's also a bit of a stretch. I don't know why I've collected that title, because I never have really partied.
The question was non-incriminating, so it makes little sense as to why he would be so stuttery and spurious in his response.
We then get introduced to a brand named Come Hammer Brand Management, which is of course in reference to the PR representative stuff that we've already discussed earlier. If there's one word the episode keeps frequently bringing up, it's the word victim.
Victim.
Which I think is in reference to the constant victim mentality and victim tactics that the Harry and Meghan documentary uses, which was something that was called out by a lot of people that reviewed this documentary.
The fact that Meghan and Harry think that there's some global cabal against them is exactly why people don't like them.
Yeah, they over-victimize themselves so much in this documentary, it's actually annoying. We then jump cut to a Canadian news interview with a news reporter interviewing both the Duke and Duchess of Canada. The scene then introduces us to both the prince and wife holding a sign saying, "We want our privacy," which is obviously a satirical dig at the many times Prince Harry would say the dumbest stuff in the documentary.
The main thing that we needed was some space to think and just work out what on earth we're doing.
Oh yes, we needed to have some precious space from the media and press. That's why we signed a Netflix deal and gave them various pictures of our children to fuel this documentary. Dude, enough. So far there's nothing that they could really sue South Park for, as it's basically the truth and nothing but their own words. The news reporter then gives a satire dig at how truly privileged the couple really is.
So let me start with you, sir. You've lived a life with the royal family, you've had everything handed to you, but you say your life has been hard.
And also references their own book.
And now you've written all about it in your new book, When.
The interviewee then gives more satire digs at Harry and Meghan's situation.
You should write a book because your family like stupid and then so are like journalists, so you hate journalists. That's right. And now you wrote a book that reports on the lives of the royal family. Right, so you're a journalist.
And the ending scene references Prince Harry and Meghan's exit from Britain.
To hell with Canada! We are leaving! We'll go find some quiet place where we can be normal people! Come on, wife!
All in all, these South Park clips are just making the most subtle satire digs at Prince Harry and Meghan's situation and how in reality these people just strive for attention but continuously lie about it just cuz. The episode then of course references the many trips that have been referenced in the Harry and Meghan documentary, such as the trip to Africa and of course Australia, which is where the elephant scene of course comes from. The couple then of course tour Colorado, which is where the main characters all live, which is where Kyle Broflovski first comes into contact with them. The conflict starts when the Prince and wife of Canada are seen shooting fireworks into the sky, demanding privacy from everyone.
Down with the monarch! We deserve our privacy!
This might be once again another satire dig as to how much Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have ranted about needing privacy despite blatantly doing as much as they possibly can to receive attention from everyone. However, when Kyle discusses the issue with the other school kids, Kyle is quickly shot down with the other kids stating,
Dan, are you gonna say something? Look, Kyle, we just kinda don't care about some dumb prince and his stupid wife.
This may be a satirical reference to how genuinely tired everyone is of listening to Harry and Meghan's bullshit narrative of constant racial oppression from others, which if you've actually watched the documentary and seen how much they blow stuff out of proportion, this narrative makes absolute sense. We then jump cut to the next scene of the documentary, which basically just shows Kyle's house currently being raided by a bunch of magazine papers, and then jump cutting to the reaction of both Prince and Princess of Canada, who are upset that Kyle didn't give them the reaction they wanted. The show once again clowns on Harry and Meghan for how much they used the race card.
What'd he just say? He victimized me! It's because I'm an ethnic woman!
With the prince giving the reaction that any outsider would give.
Wait, you're ethnic?
Spot on. I mean, come on, let's be real here. Unless someone told you that Meghan Markle was half black, you wouldn't know. Don't lie.
I did not know she was biracial. And I don't even actually remember the point at which I found out. And I think once I found out, I would send her out for black roles. But sometimes I would pitch her for those roles and the casting would be like, what do you mean? So I'd be like, well, you know, she's biracial, her mom's black. It's like, no, she doesn't. Okay.
We then jump cut to the Prince of Canada, then attempting to confront Kyle by mooning, which then leads to Kyle not giving them any time of the day, which then leads to a rather disappointed reaction from the prince. The irony of this, of course, being that in reality, almost everyone is respecting y'all's privacy, and y'all are the ones who are in desperation for some sickly attention. We then, of course, jump cut to the business of Cum Hammer, where Prince and Princess of Canada once again confront Kyle Broflovski.
It's him! You just can't leave us alone, can you? Oh my god, he's so obsessed with us!
We then, of course, jump cut to the truthful ending message of this episode.
They're telling you guys to reduce yourself into products. We just try to present and control an image of us for people to see them. We're just performers instead of human beings.
With the prince agreeing.
He's right. Trying to make ourselves into a brand just turned us into products. We don't need to be a brand, do we?
The South Park team then, of course, references the Netflix documentary.
If it's truly what we want, then we really can get away from it all. No more magazines and Netflix shows.
Got him!
With the ultimate joke being Prince Harry's wife, Meghan Markle, is about as one-dimensional as Kristen Stewart from Twilight.
We really can live a normal life. Yes, I'm sure you agree, darling. What matters is what we have on the inside.
Kristen Stewart, the girl who played Bella from Twilight, she looks like a corpse. I mean, you have to be pretty dumb to use decent acting ability and Kristen Stewart in the same sentence.
Oh, shit! Oh, and by the way, Kristen Stewart's literal peak acting was in Zathura, and that's because Kristen Stewart doesn't even speak dialogue half of the time. We then jump cut to the scene where it all started, with Kyle reiterating the most important message of all time.
It's okay, things get to you. It's who you are.
Amen, Kyle. And now that we've reviewed the episode, let me finish it off with my final closing thoughts.
Stanley, the only reason Daddy used that word is that he thought he would win money.
So far, after watching this overall episode, I originally came into it thinking that it was going to rip deeply into the insecurities and controversial past and flaws of both Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. However, in in reality, it's probably one of the most calmest and subtle digs I've ever seen at a celebrity figure ever. And this is South Park we're talking about. South Park ripped into celebrities like Kanye West.
And the Hobbit said thank you, and the Hobbit and God lived happily ever after in the shower forever because I love it so much. I'm sorry.
The Kardashians.
Look it up, stupid! In real life, Kim Kardashian has the body of a hobbit!
Barbara Streisand.
It's all just in good fun, except when it comes to Barbara Streisand. We hate her!
And Tom Cruise of all people.
Haven't I done well, Elron?
You're not like as good as Leonardo DiCaprio, but you're okay, I guess.
I'm nothing. I'm a failure in the eyes of the prophet. Ah!
Hey!
If anything, that's probably my biggest complaint with this episode, as after all, if you were a neutral and didn't know anything about the royal family, you probably wouldn't find this episode as funny because you wouldn't even get any of the actual jokes in the show. All in all, it makes sense why Harry and Meghan aren't suing this show, because they know just as much as I do that the lawsuit is horseshit, and that if this case had actually gone to court, both the judge and jury would be laughing their asses off at Harry and Meghan, and both Matt and Trey Parker would countersue their asses so hard that they would come running back to the royal palace just begging for forgiveness and extra money to their cause. All in all, while I do enjoy this episode, I do disagree with the premise that the episode was making. You see, the episode tried to hint at the fact that the prince was nothing more than a pushover cuck,
And I don't know what the hell she does. And like, she seems to just boss him around and make him do whatever she wants.
and that the princess was actually worse.
Isn't it true, sir, that your wife has her own TV show? Some people might say that your Instagram-loving bitch wife actually doesn't want her privacy.
And way more one-dimensional than the prince.
Yeah, come on, honey. We don't need this place, honey.
And while I do agree that both Harry and Meghan are snakes, out of the two of them, I despise Prince Harry a hell of a lot more than Meghan. And no, it's not because Meghan Markle is half black. It's because unlike Prince Harry in the documentary series, Meghan rightfully called out both Samantha and Thomas for being two-faced, backstabbing, scumbag clout chasers who were using Meghan's fame as a way to essentially get whatever they wanted. However, unlike Harry, Meghan had actual evidence as well as proof to back up these claims. Prince Harry, on the other hand, has nothing. Harry has made nothing but baseless, if not borderline slanderous claims about the entirety of the royal family. So far, Harry has accused Prince Charles of being a bad father,
and even says Charles would joke with Harry that he was not his father. Not a tear. My father did not hug me.
Prince William of physical assault.
He grabbed me by the collar, ripping my necklace, and he knocked me to the floor.
And even tried to accuse William and Katie of being supportive of Harry's Nazi costume.
But he also details a fight between Kate and Meghan. Says William and Kate howled with laughter at a Nazi uniform he wore to a party for which he had to apologize.
And has done all of that and provided next to absolute zero proof of said claims. Need I remind you that this is the same guy that tried to take something as dire as Meghan's miscarriage and tried to push the blame onto the media?
I believe my wife suffered a miscarriage because of what the Mail did. I watched the whole thing.
What the fuck?
Despite even admitting to having zero proof of said claims.
Now, do we absolutely know that the miscarriage was caused by that? Of course we don't.
And you're going to still push for this accusation?
But bearing in mind the stress that caused, the lack of sleep, I can say from what I saw, that miscarriage was created by what they were trying to do to her.
Prince Harry, you are a disgusting piece of shit. Go to hell, asshole. I'm just An Oreo here, and thanks for watching. Be sure to watch my deep dive on the Harry and Meghan drama series if you want to see me further debunk the many lies that the couple has repeatedly churned out. But with that being said, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Misinformation is a global humanitarian crisis.
That one didn't age quite so well. Stop capping. Stop the cap. Stop the cap right now.